Today, we're diving into the story of a grassroots activist whose work has quietly touched thousands of lives. This is Ek Awaaz, the story of Shruti Nagvanshi, and it all starts with a single voice.
So let's just start with this big question, right? It's a question that frames this entire story. Can one person's voice really change the world? We're going to see if we can find an answer by looking at one remarkable life.
All right, let's get into the first chapter of her story, Ek Laki Ek Saval, which translates to One Girl, One Question.
So picture this, the ancient city of Varanasi. It's here that a young girl named Shruti was growing up, just watching the world around her with these incredibly curious eyes.
And even as a kid, she started to get this feeling that something was off. A deep sense that the way things were just wasn't the way they were supposed to be. It was this feeling that things simply weren't fair. And this wasn't just some vague idea. She saw it every single day. People were denied basic dignity just because of their caste, their gender, or because they didn't have money. And seeing these inequalities, well, that's what would light the fire for her life's work.
And that realization, that fire, pushed her into the next phase of her life, which we're calling System Co Challenge Karo, or, you guessed it, challenge the system.
It's so easy to see injustice in the world and just look away, to focus on your own life, build your own comfort. But Shruti, she made a different choice, a much harder one. She decided she was not going to be a bystander. And this became her mission statement, her core belief, the idea that would drive her for decades to come. If the system isn't changing, then challenge the system.
Okay, so she's decided to challenge the system. But how? How do you even begin to do that? Well, that brings us to the next part of her story, Zameen Par Asli Kam, which means real work on the ground. Shruti didn't start in some fancy office or by writing letters to politicians. Nope, she went straight to the heart of the problem, right into the villages and the slums where these inequalities were a part of daily life. She met people right where they were. And from that hands-on, on-the-ground work, she started building actual organizations for change. She founded Jan Mitraneas, which was all about giving a voice to communities that had been silenced. And then there was the Savitri Bai Phule Mahila Panchayat, an initiative specifically to empower women and help them claim their rights.
Now, this whole approach has a name: grassroots activism. It's this powerful idea that real, lasting change doesn't come from the top down. It starts from the bottom up. It's driven by the community itself, not by people in power far away. And that idea is absolutely crucial to understanding the impact of her work.
So, all this work on the ground, what was the result? Did it actually work? Well, that brings us to our next section, Awaaz Se Badlav Tuk, from voice to change.
And the answer is yes. It absolutely produced real, measurable results. You could actually see the change happening. Women, feeling empowered, started to speak up about their problems. Health awareness in villages just shot up. Child nutrition programs got better, and this is huge. Maternal and neonatal deaths actually started to go down. Now that's what real impact looks like.
And when you make that kind of a difference, people start to notice. The recognition started rolling in. In 2016, she was named one of India's top 100 women achievers. Then in 2019, she received the Rex Karmveer Chakra Award. And in 2024, she was honored with the International Women Entrepreneur Award. But the recognition didn't even stop there. Her work for peace and human dignity has been so profound that, get this, there has even been talk of a Nobel Peace Prize nomination. That just highlights the global importance of what she's been doing.
All of this, the tireless work, the incredible impact, the big-time recognition, it all brings us to our final powerful conclusion, Aapki Awaaz Ki Taakat, or the power of your voice. But after all those accolades and trophies, what does Shruti herself consider her greatest award? It's not a plaque on a wall. It is, in her own words, when a woman stands up for her own rights. The true reward for her is seeing other people find their own power.
And her story is just such a powerful reminder, isn't it? That real heroes aren't always the ones on the front pages. So often they're the ones working quietly, day in and day out, not for the headlines, but to build courage in other people.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Can a single voice make a difference? I think Shruti Nagvanshi's life gives us a pretty clear answer, and it leaves us with this final, inspiring thought. A single person's voice may seem small, but when it rises for truth, it can change the world.